There are new reports that the Kremlin is praising the Trump administration, saying that Washington's, quote, rapidly changing, end quote, stance on foreign policy largely aligns with Moscow's vision on international affairs. New CBS News polling shows that 42% of Americans feel that President Trump's stances and actions are making U.S. foreign relations worse. According to those polled, 46% feel as though President Trump's recent actions and statements have favored Russia. 43% say President Trump is treating Russia and Ukraine equally, while just 11% claim the president's efforts have favored Ukraine. Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster, who served as the National Security Advisor under the first Trump administration, spoke to CBS News' 60 Minutes' Scott Pelley about what he believes Putin's response was to this Oval Office showdown you see on your screen with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and President Trump's efforts on the international stage.
Vladimir Putin couldn't be happier, Scott, because what he sees is all of the pressure on Zelenskyy, all of the pressure on Ukraine, and no pressure on him.
The allies look at the video and see what?
What they see is something that's just confounding, a discussion that doesn't reflect the reality of the war in Ukraine, the degree to which this war is a crime against humanity.
Over the weekend, Zelenskyy met with European leaders in London for an emergency summit to discuss the next steps for his country's war with Russia. And despite what unfolded during Friday's Oval Office meeting, the Ukrainian president says he is still ready to sign a rare minerals deal with the United States. Joining us now is CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi. Olivia, thanks for being here. President Trump took to Truth Social again today, accusing President Zelenskyy of not wanting peace and saying Ukraine cannot end the war with Russia without the U.S.'s help. So where do things stand right now between the two countries?
Yeah, Trump in that Truth Social post really slamming the Ukrainian leader for saying that the end to the war in Ukraine is still a very long way away. Trump also in that Truth Social post saying America will not put up with Zelenskyy and his actions for much longer. I'm paraphrasing there, but essentially saying that Zelenskyy does not want peace and the U.S. does, and that he better get on board. That's the messaging really from the White House. And it comes as Zelenskyy has said that he wants peace, but really not at the expense of Ukrainian sovereignty. Of course, we've seen Russia make incursions into Ukraine, and they have about 20% of their land now under their control. It's a question of whether or not they'll be willing to give that up for this so-called peace deal. But this comes as the divisions between these two leaders are really deepening. That's what we've been seeing, especially over the weekend since that explosive Oval Office meeting. Ukrainian President Zelenskyy immediately went to Europe, where he sought to get any type of assurances from European leaders, and he appeared to get it from Keir Starmer. He's the Prime Minister of the UK, where he essentially said that there will be boots on the ground from NATO troops after a ceasefire deal is made in Ukraine. Those are the security assurances that Zelenskyy is looking for. But of course, he's still making that olive branch towards the White House, saying he would be interested in signing that rare earths mineral deal to get any type of concession out of the U.S. and perhaps get some security assurances from them. But Lindsay, it's looking like that might be an uphill battle for him to climb.
Yeah, it feels like the security guarantees is a true sticking point between the two parties. We're seeing reports that the Kremlin says it's more aligned with the U.S. than ever before. How is the White House responding?
Well, we haven't exactly heard from the White House on this, but it certainly shows what amounts to be a major shift in American foreign policy right now across the world. Certainly a shift in what we have seen of the international world order since the end of World War II. Essentially, the Kremlin spokesperson on Sunday said that the foreign policy configuration that they're seeing right now largely aligns with their vision. They called what happened in the Oval Office historic and a gift to the Kremlin. Now, of course, Russia has essentially been a pariah on the world stage since they invaded Ukraine, but also since we've seen just extraordinary crackdowns on free speech, jailing of dissidents, all these sorts of things that really don't align with American values and Western values. They have become a pariah. Now those relations are thawing. They see this as a real opportunity to increase relations, friendships between the U.S. and Russia. Certainly a historic realignment, something we have not seen in the last several decades.
Olivia Rinaldi, thank you so much.